So hello and welcome to another podcast from the Engineering Department at Durham University. My name is Chloe and today we're joined by Sophie, who's a PhD student here at Durham. Welcome Sophie, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. Thanks for having me.
It's all right. So if it's all right with you, Sophie, we're going to be chatting to you about your research and your experience at the university, as well as some of the things that you like doing outside the department. So to start off, it would be really interesting to know how you came to study engineering. So what kind of sparked your interest?
So I wasn't too sure, like from too young of age, that I wanted to go into engineering specifically. I just really loved sciences at school. It just captured my imagination, kind of got very fascinated very quickly in how the world works. And I was actually quite interested in biology from quite a young age. My dad is like really into kind of conservation and he liked birds and wildlife. And that was something that I kind of picked up an interest in from a young age. And also astronomy and things like that, the natural world. And as I kind of developed through school, and I actually got to know my granddad a lot better, who actually used to be a marine engineer in the Merchant Navy, and would tell me all about his travels and all over the world on these massive oil tankers and crawling through engines. It just was really interesting. It was just something I've never really been taught about in school. It was a completely different area. And so, yes, kind of going through school and getting more into art, which is something I really did excel in, probably even more than the sciences. And I kind of came and realized actually there is kind of a real crossover between creativity and physics and maths, which again, I don't think it's something that gets pushed enough at school, that kind of link. And discovered the great Leonardo da Vinci and be like, whoa, this guy is so into science, and an amazingly talented artist and inventor. And that's really why I think engineering was like the kind of perfect route for me, because I could kind of grow those skills together. So yeah, when I was in sixth form, I did for my A-levels maths, physics, art and geography. And so kind of when I was looking for engineering courses, I was kind of really drawn to Durham because they had such a large emphasis also on energy, as well as this general approach. So I could kind of start to, think about, oh, there's lots of routes for my kind of creative science kind of like route to go through into engineering. And it gave me that option to try lots of different types of engineering. So your civil, mechanical, electrical, electronic. Wasn't too certain what I wanted to do. And I found that was a perfect thing for me. And yeah, the geography really helped me get into kind of energy and environment. Again, this careful conservation, which I kind of got from my family, again, kind of drew me into Durham particularly. And I was very lucky to kind of achieve those grades and get into Durham and then start to kind of really slimline down where I wanted to go in engineering. But it's funny, there wasn't like too many actual, so talking about like role models and things, which sparked that interest. I didn't actually know too much about women engineers and scientists, and I've been able to learn a lot more about them. Now I'm getting more into kind of STEM outreach. But I found that like just people in my life, I was very lucky to have a lot of women science teachers at school who were really inspiring. And my mum was super hardworking in her job, even though it's not directly STEM related. And that kind of really, that drive of seeing quite like strong, powerful women was pretty amazing. And also women politicians as well, and seeing that kind of strength there. So yeah, I'm glad I've ended up where I am. I'm quite lucky.
Yeah, no, that's really fascinating actually. You've come at it from a few different angles that are really interesting there. So for those of you who don't know, Sophie actually has completed her BEng and her MSc at Durham, and she's now obviously doing her PhD as well. So what kind of made you choose Durham specifically, and why did you decide to do each of those degrees?
Yeah, so yeah, again, the Durham thing was just the general engineering course, which I just really encourage to kind of younger people thinking about engineering, because it's difficult when you're school age to know the engineering streams where you really don't touch upon specific engineering topics. You're just kind of covering your physics and chemistry, maths, which kind of intercombine. But it doesn't really state the lines of structural, civil, and all the different streams. So the general was really good for me in that way. And actually, I was looking to go more civil because I was quite interested in architecture a little bit at the time. So I thought, well, maybe this is like the good compromise between architecture and a kind of more hard physics. And actually, when I started Durham and I started the general engineering course, which is general engineering for the first 2 years, and you specialize in the third year, I realized actually civil engineering is probably not so much my strong suit. And I found a kind of love for mechanical and electrical, and like kind of quite classical thermodynamics and things like that in engineering. And yeah, and I kind of moved that way into energy. I did sign up to do the M Eng and then decided to move to the B Eng because I thought, oh, maybe I'll find opportunity somewhere else and try and get a better breadth of knowledge and experience. And then I had Professor Simon Hogg, who is our head of department, as my supervisor for my research project for my B Eng, which was looking at compressed air energy storage, or CAES, it sometimes gets abbreviated as, which is kind of using like giant salt caverns underground as like air batteries for batteries like energy storage, which is great for our renewables. And he was like, you should stay, do our MSc program, new and renewable energy, you'll love it. And I was just kind of, it caught me, and I was like, you know what, my journey at Durham, it's not over. This sounds perfect for me. It's kind of getting that energy side that I'm really interested in. It's a good mix between mechanical and electrical, which I really enjoy. And so, yeah, I decided to stay for the MSc, which actually worked out well for me. I applied for a scholarship, which I actually received, I was very lucky to receive from, it was Dong Energy now, Orsted, to help me fund my master's. And 50% of that master's was doing my research projects looking at permanent magnet synchronous generators, which I'll probably talk about a bit more as my research, and trying to see if we can change the rare earth permanent magnets to a kind of better type of magnet, and playing with the machine. And that was I really loved that project, and I guess that's what led me to my PhD later on. So yeah.
Nice. Yeah, and actually for anyone who doesn't know, Orsted's actually a really fascinating company to have a look at, so definitely check them out as well. So I was lucky enough to hear a bit about your research from a presentation you gave a few weeks ago with Student Energy Durham. But for those who don't know about the project you're working on for your PhD, can you tell us a bit about your research and what the goals are for your project?
Yeah, so my research is looking at, or the title is Unconventional Generators for Wind Turbine Applications. So I'm trying to take a step back from what's kind of currently popular and used amongst the big players in kind of the manufacture of electrical machines for wind turbines, or just the wind turbine manufacturers, and see how can we rethink this problem? Can we like look outside the box rather than playing with the same types of machines we always have? How about we actually consider some of these old, more shelved ideas? So it's looking back to like the 70s and seeing what kind of unconventional machine technologies there are, or things that maybe use more on motor or vehicle applications, and just try and see how well they might fit into a kind of modern wind turbine application. It's trying not to rule things out just by, you know, looking at a list of positives, list of negatives, we'll rule that out. I actually want to create a kind of comparison model where I'm able to directly see the differences between the conventionally used popular types of electrical machines and some other types of unconventional machines. And the reason for this is the wind industry has moved incredibly fast. In the last 10 years, our generation from wind has increased by like 300%. And as well as just kind of the rapid increase in how many wind turbines and wind farms are being created, we've also got a huge scale increase on the size of the turbines themselves. So for the Halliard X, which is one of the largest ones at the moment, 14 megawatts, it's GE's model. You've got this giant turbine it's like 80% the size of the Shard in London. So absolutely huge, about 4 times the height of Durham Cathedral's top tower. And these rotor blades are huge. So that obviously means our generator is going to be much bigger on the inside. And there's been a move to direct drive machines. So we're trying to remove the gearbox, particularly far offshore. We want to be reducing that maintenance. So the industry's moved that way. No more gearboxes. But the problem is you're getting a very heavy, large machine that uses a lot of rare earth permanent magnets, which are incredibly expensive, maybe should be reserved for medical uses or vehicle uses. So I'm kind of looking at trying to see if you can, you know, remove problematic components like that. Particularly when moving further offshore, we're getting bigger. We need to meet new challenges. Floating offshore wind is another thing. So we may need to reduce the whole mass, which is in the nacelle of the wind turbine. So it's something else I'm looking at optimizing for, kind of mass reduction as well. But yeah, the magnets thing is quite interesting because these rare earth permanent magnets in 2011 had a price surge of like nearly 400%. So they are quite volatile, the prices, and we're always about in wind bringing price down so that it's more competitive. And as wind is kind of approaching this £40 per megawatt hour for its levelized cost of energy, every tiny bit of the components saving costs is important, so we can get more wind turbines implemented. It can contribute more to our energy mix and hopefully reduce kind of carbon emissions over time. So yeah.
Yeah, no, that's really interesting. I mean, you get taught in sort of electrical, like the fundamental motor and generator structure, and it would be really interesting actually to see some new ideas on that, because it's something that can get a little repetitive. So it would be very interesting to see where that research goes, definitely.
Yeah.
So as well as Student Energy Durham, I know you're involved with Energy CDT and also STEM outreach. And as you said a bit earlier, you're an artist in your free time as well. Could you tell us a little bit about these kind of projects and hobbies and the sort of things you enjoy getting involved with when you're not doing your research?
Yeah, so I mean, for me, it's really important to kind of have like a wide range of things to be involved with while doing a PhD. I think it kind of makes for a more enriched experience, and as well, the PhD can be quite sole research and can be quite isolating at times. I am a team player and I like to be part of a team. So for the Energy CDT, as you mentioned, which is the Energy Centre for Doctoral Training, it's a fantastic opportunity to collaborate with researchers across the university, not just in engineering, different departments and faculties as well, and hear what they're doing, work on projects together, enter debates, discussions, have a chat with speakers who come and do seminars. So it's a really great opportunity that the university provides through the Durham Energy Institute, actually. So that's been a good way to kind of collaborate and just to learn a lot more about our energy generation mix and how important that diversity is in terms of the whole field of energy, and why it's really important that research doesn't just come from a pure science standpoint either. We need the arts and humanities as well, and business, to contribute to these things. As well as that, I'm involved, yeah, as you said, like a few other things. So something else I'm involved with is my college. So I'm part of University College and in Castle MCR, which is the Middle Common Room for postgraduates. And I've been very lucky to be involved with some of the executive committee activities. So I've helped to organise 2 of the conferences, which we're kind of forming at the moment. So last year we had Changing Futures, I think it was, but sadly it got cancelled because of COVID-19. But we did have a panel set up for climate change there. But our actual next conference, which is, let me just get the name up so I can get it right. It should be good. It's Power, Privilege and Possible Futures, which is coming up this year. And that's a really good opportunity for kind of postgraduates from all over the university and outside of the university to contribute in a conference which really covers a wide interdisciplinary kind of theme. So I'm sure hopefully some of the engineers will consider applying as well, because we're also letting kind of final year MN students apply for that. And I'm sure the Power and Possible Futures would be a good one for energy as well. So I've been really grateful for the college, the castle, and those opportunities as well. And then, yeah, STEM outreach. I think this is so important. I mean, I was just quite lucky. I was surrounded by people who enjoyed science when I was growing up, and I had this quite lucky kind of path into it. But there are a lot of barriers for kind of young girls moving into STEM. But I think there's also barriers higher up. So sometimes you get people who have, you know, got into STEM who are women or kind of people from different backgrounds, and they sadly haven't followed through with it or left it, because I don't believe that engineering particularly is kind of open enough to allow people from different backgrounds and diversities to keep them in the field. So I was quite surprised when we had International Women's Day the other week to find out that 91% of the engineering workforce in the UK is male, and that actually even more, 93% of the engineering workforce is white. And so it's not just the issue of women in STEM, which gets talked about a lot, it's a big intersectional issue as well, in terms of trying to get more people of colour into engineering. It's also about trying to support LGBTQ+ people in engineering. Another figure which I was quite surprised to see, which was released recently from the I think it was the all-party parliamentary group, said that the engineering industry in the UK is losing £11 billion a year because LGBTQ people don't feel comfortable coming out in their companies, and it's affecting productivity. So there needs to be not just change for letting women into engineering, but just into STEM. It comes from all sorts of areas. I think there's large changes that need to be done. It's not just about people leaning in, it's about change coming from the inside. So I guess all I can do and trying to help is just kind of speaking to young people and, speaking to school children and being like, you deserve to do this. Like, you can make it. You don't have to fit those old stereotypes, really nerdy stereotypes. You can be kind of who you are, and engineering needs those creative ideas to kind of get into the future. So sorry, I've been talking a lot there, but yeah, the other week I was again invited to a panel. I was quite lucky to be part of a panel where it was kind of Women and Girls in Science Day in February, and a fantastic panel of other academics in the university, and we were trying to talk to school kids about why you should choose like STEM subjects. And we were really lucky. We had about 180 kids come from different schools locally, and they seemed to really enjoy it. And those things really, I think they matter. Just that inspiration, it can really help people. So yeah, and then the art as well. Sorry, there's quite a few things that I'm doing. Yeah, I try and keep my arts kind of going. It's a really good like release and creative outlet for me. It's something that I can relax and do on things like the weekends, and after just focusing on kind of a lot of coding, which is I do end up doing for my research. It's a nice outlet. And I do graphic design stuff as well, which I have been quite lucky to pick up some interesting projects for companies and things on over the last year. So
nice. Yeah, no, there's such important issues. And I know myself, I've done a little bit of outreach with Green Power kit cars in primary schools, and it's such a rewarding experience. So I'd really encourage others to get involved in STEM outreach if they can. And also check out Sophie's art on Instagram because it is amazing.
Thank you.
So I know you've got a little while left of your PhD still, but have you got any plans for kind of your next steps in your career at all?
I'm deciding that at the moment, actually. I've got quite a few friends who I've met through like a PhD at Durham, and they're like starting to finish. So they're deciding, do I go postdoctorate and stay in academia, or do I go into industry? Do I stay in engineering? Do I go into more government? So it has got me thinking about it at the moment, but currently I'm not too sure. There are a lot of like really kind of great opportunities out there. I have to see what the current climate is with COVID, because I know things are quite difficult at the moment, but yeah, just trying to stay on focus with getting the research done first. But I am quite keen to move back into industry in some kind of form. I love teamwork, as I said, so that's something I would really enjoy, being part of a team, building something, making a good project, and actually having that kind of real world impact, which is the best thing about engineering, I think, is designing something, working through something, and you see those changes, or those changes are going to be implemented kind of in the real world. So.
Yeah, and we're really lucky in engineering that there's such a variety of jobs out there that actually we can, there's so much choice for us. So we're very lucky in that. So finally, just want to finish off, what has been your favourite experience at Durham so far?
It's really hard, this one, because I've had so many. It is a really just a unique place to live and work. I have been in Durham for quite a while now. But yeah, it's just the Northeast is just a fantastic place to live, and getting to see things just outside of the city and understand more about like the culture and like the really important like mining heritage and history has been absolutely incredible. And going to like different parts and seeing the coast and things, I've loved those visits, obviously before before the pandemic. But yeah, in terms of other Durham events, we had this poster competition after my master's, which was so great to see all the MSc students who I'd worked alongside on the new and renewable energy stream, and seeing their research kind of just from that half an academic year of work, how well it had all come out. And I mean, I managed to actually win one of the prizes for like best poster, which was really, really nice. And that just felt like validation for my research, which was really nice. But yeah, I mean, actually, to be fair, just a few weeks ago, that event where we spoke to all those, school, young people at schools and trying to encourage mentoring, and the questions you were getting, I really loved that opportunity to kind of represent Durham, represent the department, and hopefully, actually just ignite that spark in someone where they might consider an engineering route. Those have been some of the best opportunities that I've had. But yeah, I love the city. I just love all the talks and events that happen. Durham Energy Institute is fantastic. Yeah, so there's a lot. I don't know specifically, because there's been so many great things that have come out of being here. Do you have any?
Well, I mean, part of my degree so far has kind of been impacted by the pandemic a bit. I've actually only so far spent sort of half my time in Durham. So I'm going to hold out on that one. I'm going to wait and see what happens in the next couple of years. Hopefully
I'm sure you'll have some definitely great opportunities coming your way. So
yeah, I'm sure I will. Thank you very much. Thank you for joining us, Sophie. It's been really, really great to hear your experiences. And thank you to everyone who's listening. We hope you enjoyed this podcast. We have more podcasts coming soon, so keep an eye on our social media, on our Twitter at Durham_Eng, at Instagram at DU Engineering, and our Facebook page at Durham University Engineering for future episodes and for more information and news about our department as well.